Okay, last time I stopped at the four continents. Again, there's SORISSU, Morse, Bagarik, and Heaven. Today I'll be talking about SORISSU continent specifically. However, before I start, I want to get one thing out of the way. Since this episode and probably future episodes will start featuring humans more and more, please note that the concepts behind human culture, technology, government, etc. are nearly all fixed into one time period in the timeline. The human timeline is separated into four parts: the beginning, the power era, the post-power era, and the repower era. Most of the stuff I'll be talking about here is in the repower era section, so expect more from that part. Now, onwards to SORISSU. Located in the far north of the Vixie, SORISSU continent is the largest continent of the four, covering approximately 108 million square kilometers of land. For your reference, it's about 3.3 times larger than Asia. Since the continent is located in the northern regions, it's extremely cold. The average temperature usually falls below negative 24 degrees Celsius. In the southwestern regions, there's the Great Waste, millions of kilometers of barren ice-filled land. My idea is that the Great Waste was formed by the crystallization of an ocean during the Vixie's early eras. Over time, a part of the crystallized ocean inside liquidized, flowing out and away, leaving holes inside the wasteland. This creates a natural, insulated area that offers protection against the winds and cold, which is why humanity set up a city inside one of the holes. The northeastern side of the SORISSU continent have a lot of mountain ranges. Since mountains provide natural insulation on their leeward side, humanity has also built settlements on open areas of mountains closest to the sea. Thus, these mountain folks live 2 kilometers above sea level. There is a small strip of land closer to the Vixie's equator, located on the very southernmost coastlines, that is habitable. The ice melts and turns into streams, supporting a small woodland ecosystem. Think of the natural mountainous ecosystem of Norway, but with less trees. This area eventually became a major travel location for humans. SORISSU continent is scarce of both flora and fauna. Solid ground is also hard to come by, as most are hidden deep beneath hundreds of meters of ice. So, SORISSU continent is pretty depressing. However, humans still view it as a cash continent. Why? Because it has extremely mineral-rich mountainous soil. The soil harvested from SORISSU's northern mountain ranges are extremely fertile and yields an insane amount. It also boosts the metabolism of the crops grown on it, making them grow extremely fast. Humans, recognizing its potential, set up harvest stations along the mountains, which later evolved into small settlements. However, only 2 of these settlements remain functional over time. Harvest Station A2 is built on the northernmost mountains. The settlement beside it holds around 2 million people, with the numbers steadily rising. The harvest station harvests mountainous soil and transports them to the second harvest station, A5, for processing. A2 also harvests land urchin secretion, an edible product from an indigenous plant, and transports them to A5 for processing. Harvest Station A5 is built on the southern regions of the northern mountains. Its settlement holds over 3 million people and is still rising. The harvest station also harvests mountainous soil, but also refines it together with land urchin secretions, making it into a popular food. Both harvest stations are directly controlled by the HSH, which stands for the Harvest Stations Hub, which is located inside the glaciers of the Great Waste. Thus, it's the largest official underground human settlement. It has a population of about 9 million, with various artisans, traders, and workers. The hub's economy is mainly built upon commerce, with Bagarik continent cities and tax for goods. Thus, it runs on plutocracy, which is the governing system based on wealth. Then there's the human town I talked about earlier. It's a semi-industrialized village called Vaharak, near the southeastern coasts. It has a population of around 600,000, so it's pretty small, though over time it became one of the main tourist attractions of SORISSU continent, and an area for peaceful negotiations between world governments. This actually have to do with the universal folklore/culture around the Vixie, which I'll get into later. Other than that, Vaharak is a port city that gets most of its income from trade and tourism. Apart from those settlements, there's also a group of subterranean settlements dotted along the west coast of SORISSU. These cities were built by scavengers, who are a group of mostly self-sufficient people that are despised by the general public. Think of Jawas and Tusken Raiders from Star Wars. There are no evictions in SORISSU continent, for they are extremely vulnerable to the cold. This actually has something to do with their history, which I am going to go over in a later episode. For now, that's pretty much the premise to SORISSU continent. I will get into its cultures and more in-depth life explanations in a later episode. Peace.